Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of your favorite afternoon shenanigans here on the Ginge Pedro Show. I'm, of course, your host, Mr. Transsexual Transvestite. Alongside is the one and only P-Money Ang.
Yeah, I'm trying to decipher your moniker here. Yeah,
I don't know what it means either.
Yeah, just
sort of a conundrum, isn't it? A paradox.
Yeah. I mean, it involves holes. It involves holes. That's all I know.
Something going on.
Yeah.
Chew on it for a while. See how it tastes. You let me know if you need. Do we need a little more salt on it?
I rather not chew on it. Thank you. I think I'll pass.
Eat my food, Pedro?
Yeah, I think I'll pass with the chewing. Yeah, just nah.
Come on, here comes it.
Oh no, hell no, we're not doing that. The hard things, man.
All right, fine. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, okay. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, for those coming in to the old chat, I'm sure we'll have some friends.
Yeah.
We got. I should have asked Marois, I believe is how we pronounce his last name. I always mess this up every single time. I mean to ask. I say that every week that I mean to ask, and I do mean to.
Yeah.
I do mean to, Mr. Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, buddy.
I didn't mean to, Mr. Frodo. Like, dude, I went to a friend's house, and right next to the barbecue, he had this like pyro engraved board that said like they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. I'm like, what? Like, why would you have that over your freaking barbecue?
Right.
I don't know. It made sense to him. To me, it was just like, what are you cooking hobbits? Like, what? But yeah, dude, I have a lot of friends who smoke weed, man. And
what's Aragorn's the beacons of what is it? What is it?
No, the beacons are lit. The biggest Gundor calls for aid. The beacons are lit. Yeah.
Gundor calls for aid. The beacons are lit.
And Rohan will answer.
Yeah. There's a setup before that. I don't remember. Anyway, I was saying that in the grocery store.
It's one of them nerdy names that if you know what your wife will leave you, it's like the beacons of Amon Sul or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Amondine. The beacons of Amondine.
You know, Tolkien obviously probably did it the best, but that's my most difficult part of fantasy is when they start speaking made-up languages.
Yeah, dude, that's the greatest pussy repellent. Yeah, that's a pussy repellent, or you call upon crazy chicks. It's one of the two.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, if you look like fucking, who's the guy that played Aragorn? What's his name?
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
With a name like Viggo Mortensen, apparently he speaks like 9 languages. You know, all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like he did a movie in Spanish. I'm recommending it to everyone because it's like a Spanish production, so it's not that famous. But dude, it's a series of novels based on the Spanish tercios in the 16th century, and he's playing this Capitan a la Triste. So it's like the tercios were like guys who would fall like with a white shirt and 2 swords, and it's just like, dude, like hidalgos, you know, like. Fighting
made for women and gays.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, like he's speaking perfect Spanish in that movie, and it's him. It's not.
Yeah. There's a compilation video. We'll get our guest out here because I don't want to just leave him high and dry. Maybe he can chime in here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, invading our airspace. Beep, 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 beep. Look out, Pedro. We're being invaded, buddy.
Oh my God.
Here he comes. Zackary Marois.
Wow. What's up?
What's up, man?
Okay.
We went hard with the nerd. Sorry about that.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Just had a long day, so I'm ready to let the fun begin. You know, let's do this.
Loose.
Beacons of
okay, Amondine is lit. The beacons of Gorian are lit. Gondor calls for aid.
Gondor. I'm just gonna pull that out.
It's a hot take for me, but I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings.
I understand it. I understand that. Yeah.
I'm more of a sci-fi guy. Fantasy
Fair.
things just doesn't really capture me, like Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Lord of the
Fair.
Rings. I'm not in it. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad, because like I will say, like Lord of the Rings is possibly the best, and like nothing compares to, those movies, and the books is like the best fantasy,
Yeah.
product of all time. And then, but I'm a sci-fi guy.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm a sci-fi guy. I enjoy fantasy, but I understand the allure of sci-fi. Like, what's your favorite sci-fi series of late
For comics or movies?
for movies or series?
Okay, so for a comic book, it just wrapped up earlier this year. It was done by Sume Kesgen. The book is called Voyages.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 5-issue miniseries that was done by
Cool.
Image, and it was absolutely amazing. The artwork, the storytelling, because mainstream comics just are not good
Nope.
anymore. And so whenever there's always going to be like a small like golden nugget in between a hot pile of shit. So
Yeah, exactly.
Voyages, was one of those comics that I finished reading. And then for movies, my favorite sci-fi movie is Enemy Mine with
Cool.
Dennis Quaid.
And
And I
Louis
forget
Gossett Jr. Yeah.
dude, that movie very underrated. Not a lot of
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it and people are like, the fuck is that? And then, I'll be like, you gotta watch it. And then I'll watch it with them, or they'll watch it on their own time, and they're like, damn,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. Enemy Mine is really good. Like, clearly defined antagonist. That's what I like, because it wasn't like humans were all bad, or I don't remember the name of the alien species, but they were all bad. But they just hated each other. Like, there was no nuance. Like, and that was the thing of the whole thing of the movie. Like, they got to know each other, but dude, they wanted to kill each other so many times. Like, dude, that was awesome.
Oh, the Drax. The humans,
the Drax.
and the Drax.
The Drax.
I mean, what's crazy is that when I was young, and I saw that for the first time, honestly, like, that movie like taught me about, like, and it's crazy because it's just the basic principle plot of the movies, like is racism, right?
Yeah.
And that movie, like, taught me very, very early on, how stupid, something like that is when I got older. And then I was like, oh wait, this is a thing, people hate because of like whatever. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I thought of Enemy Mine. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that movie was awesome, man.
Never seen it.
Good pick. Oh, you gotta check it out, Jen.
Absolutely huge recommend. Like, I'm telling you, dude, you will not be disappointed. Yeah. And any movie that Dennis Quaid is in is like never a bad film.
Well, Inner Space was kind of magoo. I never liked Inner Space.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I mean, from a lot of movies, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like a video club movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's a movie you rent. Not a
like
movie
a blockbuster.
You guys mind if we settle this quote discussion here? I'm just curious what I feel like we're missing a piece. Like,
are we?
I think so. I feel like before the king answers, I feel like Aragorn asks him like another, because it's like a setup, and Rohan. Oh, there's an and the and before.
This is very compulsory of you, man. But let's go ahead and do it.
Thing lined up, but I'll be honest, I'm far less confident that it's going to get a laugh. But we can try it if you guys are down.
The beacons are lit. Gun knuckles for 8.
Yeah, and Rohan will answer.
Okay.
And then
such a minute.
And Rohan will answer.
Master the Rohirrim.
Master the Rohirrim.
You see?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys.
Way to kill it.
Martians will ruin your property values.
Old dirty fatty. The real aliens. What do we do about them coming in?
He ain't lying. I don't know.
I mean, let's be real here. Everyone doesn't even. I mean, I'm excited, but with how much we're all struggling with like our daily lives and with how bad the economy it is, and like they make that announcement like, oh, aliens are like real now and whatever, they're gonna be, they're like, oh, it's coming soon and whatever. They're like, everyone's like, yeah, don't give a shit, but if they're coming in, you better tax them. Like, Like,
The thing is, like aliens were cool, like in 10 years
Yeah.
ago. The
no,
times
they're still cool now.
I don't know, man. Like,
They're
but the
still
thing is,
cool
like,
now.
I remember, like when YouTube was really crazy. Like when you got videos like that guy, like David Icke, and
David
the
Icke, yo.
and the reptilians, and dude, I would just like work and play those videos with my headphones. I would go nuts, like the reptilians, and they're in Africa, and their flesh tastes like copper. It's like, what the fuck? Now there's like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, he's been hot since like fucking what 1989, 88 when
89,
he
yeah.
first, yeah, when he first come on. I forgot who the television interviewer was,
yeah.
but he comes on saying like, "Yeah, I'm Jesus Christ,"
Yeah.
and
He
yeah,
went nuts.
reptilians are real. I'm like,
Yeah.
and he was like he was a soccer player. And I'm like, okay,
I know, a soccer commentator. He was a commentator, like a TV anchor.
yeah, I was just
then
like so
he went
strange.
nuts. Yeah, dude. It's like
Not even a player. I thought he was a player. I don't.
No. It was like a TV anchor, and so it's him and Alex Jones and.
Yeah, actually, no. I'm gonna absolutely disagree with you saying that aliens are no longer like a hot item because a couple years ago on Netflix there was you have the Bob Lazar documentary.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, like, with Bob Lazar, when I saw the documentary, I already saw him on Joe Rogan. So
right.
I mean? So that's
but the documentary came out to explain all of it, like as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was a hot item in the 90s when he became a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Then, obviously his life got, real fucked up, like plateaued down, and then all of a sudden, like no one knows where he's at. And then the documentary comes out.
I don't know, man. Like this, I've been surrounded by crazy people. Because even before the internet, I was bombarded with books like Chariots of the Gods and stuff. Like, yeah, they're real, man. And there's this Mexican guy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, called Jaime Maussan. And this guy is like the Mexican David Icke. He's just like the real, but with a huge ass sombrero. The real essay. They're coming for us. And dude, he has shows on Televisa and whatnot, and it's like in between the telenovelas and like Jaime Maussan and aliens. So yeah, I don't know. Like now it's like they're real. Like I don't care.
Yeah, it's because I mean, honestly, at this point, it's because we've heard it 10 years ago, we've heard it like 15 years ago, 2 years ago. We're like, oh, they're coming out, we're like releasing this information, and at this point, we don't even care because we know that you're covering this up. You're using, something's happening now, and you're just covering it up with a highlight real story like that because all the news channels are owned by 3 companies. So.
And that's the thing, like. The things like Michael Jackson died. I don't know which comedian had that theory. Like whenever something happened, like Michael, you have to say you touch another kid. I'm sorry, Michael. Oh, that was
he never did it. He never did
it. But yeah, every time there was some scandal going with the Clintons or whatever, like Michael, you have to say you touch another kid.
I mean, who was the kid from the Goonies with the kid with the yeah. He came out. Corey. He came out and fucking said, "Yeah, no, that never happened." And the cops that were trying to, when I reported like the abuse that happened to me to the cops, they asked me like, "Are you sure he didn't do that?" And then, they were trying to like narrate that whole thing, into something that it wasn't true at all. And yeah, it was crazy. Like a lot of people were coming out, but dude, I'm just,
I don't know, dude. To me, he's always gonna be Chuwaki.
Yeah.
Man in the Mirror is a good tune.
I never knew the guy, so I'm not really gonna.
Dirty Patty. Oh, Jesus is always a player.
Yeah, he's a forever player. Come on.
We got J-Bot. What's up, buddy? It's yo panel.
Do you imagine Jesus in a bar hitting a chick like, "I died for your sins, baby"?
So
you gotta put it up.
Are you guys are huge indie comic nerds, right?
Kind of, sorta. I'm more of an animation. I'm working in the field of animation. I've been into comic books for the last 3 years, so I can't really claim that I'm a huge indie, but I'm learning.
Okay.
Right.
I recently finished up this piece for promotional purposes,
Okay,
and
okay.
I finished the pencils, but it's getting inked right now. I got somebody else taking care of that for me because, dude, it's a nightmare if I did even the inks on top of this heavy. Where is it? I got the file.
Hmm.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Holy smokes,
So
bro.
I see the turtles. I see the tick. I see. Oh, dude. Okay, I have to wear my glasses now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Dread.
Yeah.
It's I got like 73 indie characters on
Oh,
this.
cool.
Yeah, and
Can
whew.
you share it through the computer screen?
Do you
Like this?
actually do you want me to send you the file on your Twitter account?
Yeah, yeah, bro. We'd
Yeah,
love to get a good look at
yeah,
it.
that
Yeah, you
works.
can look a nice gander. Now that we're talking about
Do,
Michael.
do you do most of your work on an iPad, or did you pencil that
No,
traditionally?
I
Okay.
do most of my work is traditional. If I'm
Sweet.
doing any digitals, I'm usually just kind of cleaning up in digitals, if
Mm.
anything. Um, but it's the purpose of this piece is since I'm launching a campaign in October on the 1st, I'm going to I got to create posts and try to crack the algorithm in certain ways to make sure I retain attention to it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
one of the ideas that I had was like, okay, I'll throw my character in. I just sent it to your Twitter messenger. So there's
There we
that.
go. Sweet. Let me get this pulled up.
And then so the purpose that I had is for this piece is if I'm launching my character, right? I also want to kind of have the image trend a little bit on social media and also kind of promote my comic at the same time. So I decided to do a recognition thing where I recognize a lot of the famous indie characters in the industry that's been around that has like paved the roadway for people like us to go ahead and try to make our own comics. And so this is the idea that I had.
There we
Dude,
go.
that works, dude.
All right. There's Pitt, right? Let's see.
Yep.
Is his name Prophet?
Yep.
Or am I thinking
Profit.
okay, right. Chad Townsend's piece, right? Black Phantom.
Yep.
Spawn, obviously.
Mm.
Is that Johnny Phantasm?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Let's go, baby. Come on.
Yeah.
That's Bone,
It's a
right?
really nice Lost Pages character there. I see.
Next.
Oh,
Bone.
Crimstone.
Yeah, Crimstone that's there. I got Cecil.
Right.
Nice.
Usagi, right?
You got
Usagi
milk and
Yojimbo.
cheese. You
All
got
right,
milk
there's
and
your
cheese
guy.
right under. No, that's
Yeah.
Zen.
Well,
Zen.
okay, I'm sorry.
That's from Dan Coney and Steve Stern. It used to be a Game Boy video game,
The
and
Chinu.
Chinu. Yep.
Yeah, Chinu's there. The Flaming Carrot. You got Cordrath.
Boy.
Judge Dredd. Very cool. Oh, you got Pitt right there on top.
My character is right on top of Madman. That's right there where you're there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
I like it. Sitting on your shoulders. Very nice, bro.
Got it.
This is awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, very cool.
Heck yeah. How long did this take you to do?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay.
No, okay. So my process was I did the roughs. I did a shitty rough to kind of figure out placement, if anything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then I did a second rough, which took me about a whole day just to kind of pencil all the characters in. It took me a full day. And then I did a third rough where I took my penciled rough, I scanned it in, and then I digitally fine-tuned all the characters through the third rough. And then I printed that rough out, and then I light boxed it through, and then I penciled over it traditionally. So this right here is the traditional pencils for it.
Holy
That's
shit,
awesome.
bro. I'm tired after hearing all that. I gotta be honest. That must
I think it was before I started the pencils, like the actual pencil piece, it took me about 3 days of preparation for the rough, because your rough is the most important part of your stage. If you fuck your rough up, no matter how good the your skill set or your technique that you have, it's gonna fall flat if it if your rough isn't figured out.
Interesting. So I know you're going to the Kubert School, which I mentioned to you last night. I wanted to ask you some questions about. So this is a good segue into sort of getting to know you creatively a little bit. But to answer old dirty fatty here, I do not have a Cerebus.
I couldn't add Cerebus in that piece for reasons.
Yeah, that guy is
litigious
within some stuff. Yeah,
it's a shame. It is a shame because Cerebus really is one of those characters that was also a staple. Because before the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some of the '80s indie characters like Badger and whatnot, Cerebus was one of the earliest, and the guy's psycho. And I hate saying that because Cerebus was a good comic in the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like separating the art from the artist sometimes can be hard.
Yeah.
Bob says you can add Crom.
You can always add Crom.
Okay, so let's go ahead and sort of. So you're an artist, obviously. You're also a writer. You have a project out right now, right? Did you write it or?
I've wrote it for years, and but my co-creator. So, it's a process. So sorry, man. So basically, I've had this character for so long, right? And I've written. I'm not a writer. I'm not good at writing. I just know how to implement my ideas on paper. But when it comes to like the scripting process of it, I'm just not good. And I've had all these packets of material of like what his story, my character's story was going to be about, but I didn't know how to, make everything mesh, basically, make all the cogs work into one tandem machine fluently. Right. So I asked my buddy that, because I'm a graduate. I graduated like 3 years ago, and one of my classmates, he's phenomenal. This guy has a natural gift to fucking writing, creating things on the spot, spitballing. I asked him if he could look at my work and combine it, see if he can come up with like a way to make everything, mesh. And he did. It took him like a fucking hour in the room to write it all up after reading everything. He comes out with a fucking beautiful magnum opus as if like, I overlooked something. And I told him, I was like, would you like to work on the series with me? And he was like, yeah, I would love to. So, when people pick up these comics, it's not just my writing, it's also his writing. So that's their first impression of the character. So he's just as much as a creator to it as I am.
Okay, great. And what was his name? I'm sorry.
His name is Brett Melograno.
Brett Melograno. Very nice. Are you guys going to be streaming together, or is he more of a behind the scenes kind of guy? Or
he's kind of behind the scenes. He's just always busy. He's doing a lot of different things, and so he doesn't really. He's also not huge into social media, like because it's so hard. You got to constantly post. You got to, upload stories. So he's not that kind of guy. Because he's older than me. He doesn't have the patience.
Dude, that's the thing. Like, we were having this conversation, and dude, about age, like I'm 50. But the thing is, like, in this new reality, because I don't want to say new normal, because I don't work for the government, but in this new reality, we as artists have to be out there. We have to be sociable and be likable.
Constantly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard for some. Some really great artists can be assholes or wallflowers or like very introverted. And dude, that's something we all have to work. Is right now, backers expect to know who they're buying the book from, which is awesome, but it's also harder on artists. If you're used to just like being like putting your head down and I just draw, like that's not gonna work anymore.
Like so before I add it for JBot for Scud, I did add Scud. He's in
Nice.
the piece. If you watch the video, you replay it back, you're gonna notice him right next to the Max on the bottom level on the right hand side. So, but back to what I was gonna say is that when I got out of the Cupid school, it was because that was the year COVID hit, right?
Mm.
January for the following year, I launched Voyage to the Call, which was a one-shot comic of my character, funded, right? I was on podcast shows. I must have been on like 40 podcast shows, and I was, posting a lot. I was still figuring things out, but it funded, book funded.
Yeah.
I was like, great, fulfilled it. It's out. It's done. Now I wanted to, I went into the second anthology book that I had. That failed. And I was on a bunch of shows, posting. So, and then, I launched in March, a few months ago for this issue. It failed. But I was, there's certain things you're going to have that you did before, you're going to have to do differently.
Yeah.
So I've been studying like the algorithm like crazy within that time frame. I've been posting, I've been trying different elements, what hashtags to use. Like, for example, like on I don't know if you know this, but on Instagram, to obtain followers, obviously, let's say you're gonna have to post like 3 times minimum a week. You're gonna have to add 1 to 3 things on your story every single day. And then you go into your search bar, right? And you type in a hashtag that's trending, let's say comic art, right? And that's like a thing that everybody's constantly loading stuff in that. So you go into that hashtag, you comment and like the top images that were just up there. So you want to be the first person to comment on that. And then when you go, then you click on that image, to the person who created that image, their profile. Then you go to who follows that profile, and it's because it's obviously going to be like they follow 1,000 people, but they have 42.1K followers, and they have like a great art page. You go to their followers and you like the first 3 images, and you comment on one of their posts every single profile. You work yourself down the line, and you devote it for an hour a day doing that, because if you over exceed that amount, Instagram will pick you up as like a bot when you're really not at all.
Exactly. Like you're spamming and shit.
Yeah, I mean you kind of are spamming, but you're putting the literal digital footprint of workload into it, so you can get that going for you. Like, for example, a month ago, I was 1,400 followers, and that was plateauing for about a couple years, right? It was just plateaued at that amount for the longest time, and I didn't know how to, raise the bar. I studied the algorithm, kind of like get the ball rolling. A month later, I'm at 1,907.
Damn.
So
Nice,
that's
bro.
a bump. That's a month in between. That's a bump.
For sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really. I've never been much for Instagram. I've just never been much of a picture guy, like sharing pictures. So for me, that's one that's always sort of been more
and that's a pity.
obscure, and it's
That's a pity because you look great in a bathing suit. So you should try Instagram, man.
No, I don't think I have the assets.
The bone structure.
Dude, I haven't even figured out how to work Twitter. I like that the way
Twitter,
that works is differently.
Yeah, with Twitter is like avoid the noisy spaces of fights. There's several people who are just there to post art, and that's where they get to know you. You get to explode when you get into a fight, and that's the thing with Twitter. Right? You have to get ready to get dirty. I mean, I've seen it happen time and time again. Like people just get into silly fights, and then like, hey, this guy, he's art is cool. It's like I don't know, like I'm not really comfortable with that.
The thing with it though is that if drama picks up, the algorithm picks up drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Like fucking flies to a light, dude. Like, because if you're doing your thing and you're posting on Twitter and you like a couple images, you don't get any feedback. But once you make that post, you say, let's say something controversial, like yesterday, like, fuck 9/11, right? And you post that on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, or
Now it's trending. Now you're gonna have like everybody commenting, throwing you under the bus. Like you're probably gonna get a certain amount of followers out of that. You're gonna, what I'm saying, but it's trending.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
even bad publicity is good publicity, but it's all intents and purposes how you want to see yourself, publicly.
How do you want to portray yourself? Yeah, how do you want to perceive?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
say hello to the chat real quick, guys. Just
Do
a
it.
couple familiar faces. JD, what's up, buddy? Says practice makes perfect. That's true. Right, come on.
Itchy
What's
fuck.
What's up,
I
buddy?
think JD Kirby watches me and Vaughn watches me on Vaughn Coleman's show.
Okay. Cool.
He's
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. These people are all over the place.
The chat. Yeah. Ichthus, say, buddy. What's up, Total Excellence?
What's up,
Of course,
Ichthus?
speaking of OGs of the chat, what's up, Shadowhawk? Hey, buddy.
Shadow up.
Friend of the chat. Friend of everybody's chat. Shadowhawk. Great guy. Okay. So let's sort of segue into your book here, Voyage #1, right? Could you tell us a little bit about it? You said you've been working on the character for a while. Could you just sort of give us the pitch and then we'll go from there?
So, Voyage is a sci-fi fantasy comic that focuses on an individual, Sonderon, who is exiled out of a star system, and he is quested to find this artifact that is shattered into tiny pieces and scattered throughout the universe. Legend says that if you find these pieces and unite it back into the sphere, that it will bring peace to the universe once more. Now, Sonderon doesn't know the lore behind this. It's kind of forced upon him to look for this. So as he's exiled and he does his thing, the first planet he heads to in this issue is Alcinar 8. So he's like a young teenager. He's gotta acts like they know everything. But really, once you get kicked out of the house, then you're kind of like have to figure everything out on your own. It just kind of leaves you like freaking out on the inside, and you're gullible. You're going to be taken advantage of. So in this issue, Sonderon comes across this situation, which is going to be a double cross to one of these characters that he's going to potentially save, and that action sets in motion this domino effect of all this bullshit that's gonna like go against him, because it adds all eyes are on him once he does this certain moment, and it sets the motion for the series basically. So the artifact, all this like quest finding, for it. I'm gonna exaggerate it, I'm gonna stretch it out as much as I can. But for Sonderon to do his thing in space, it's about the fun and what I can do, in sci-fi comics, because in comic books for sci-fi stuff, it's always a human astronaut, or you're on a human planet, or you meeting aliens and stuff. The main alien as a character is very rare. You could say Martian Manhunter or Zen Intergalactic Ninja. You could probably count on your hand like a certain amount of times that those characters are there, but other than that, it's not a common thing. So I want to bring that out. There's no humans in this comic at all whatsoever. It's just aliens.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That makes it different already.
Yeah, I will say it's one of my favorite movies, but I got a feeling I'm sort of gonna be alone in the chat here on this one. But and there are humans involved, but I feel like it's an underrated Simon Pegg movie. Paul, you guys see Paul?
Oh no, it's a good
Actually,
film.
love
It's a
Paul.
good film. It's a fucking awesome film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Like I have mixed feelings about Paul. Like I didn't like his personality.
I mean, how cool it would have been if Paul was like in space. If
exactly.
he wasn't on Earth and he was like, how cool Predator would it be? Sorry. How cool Predator would have been, because you do Predator 1 and 2, and that's great, and then you have like Predators, and that was like where the fuck did that come from? You're like, you're not on Earth.
Yeah.
That's cool, but dude, it would be awesome if you watch a movie where the predators are hunting the aliens or whatever stuff that they're going against, because they have a massive lore behind them. Avatar, in 2012, became one of the most highest grossing films of that year, and it was a sci-fi film, you know, and you have
and all
military.
aliens.
So it's there. There is interest. So I'm trying to bring that out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that would have been the way to do an AVP movie, is remove the humans and just give us, you know, an actual interesting storyline there. Because the backstory is so much more interesting, and you really only get a little glimpse of it at the end. You know, like the massive pyramids thing, and like, you know, what they were doing in the past is really what everybody wants to know. Like, that's the interesting stuff.
Yeah, they've been so like underused, I think.
Oh, extremely.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? It says, "What? Hail, guys! Hail, chat! Chris Campana is a top-notch guy."
Oh, hell yeah! I was happy that I was able to get a hold of him to do a variant cover for this, because that's going to be variant cover B.
Oh, cool.
Is that cover right there, and everyone who signs up on the pre-launch sign-up list will get a Sonderon free trading card.
I'm loving the hardware, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of like gladiatorial, but futuristic. Like, it's future tense, but I see a little hint of gladiator, like exotic weaponry from the arena. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting that little echo there, so it's cool, really cool.
I'm pulling inspiration from everything. You know, I don't want to like you said, like gladiatorial. Like, I don't want it to where you in space. You know, you just kind of get that gladiatorial feel. I want it where you're like.
Yeah.
You get all those kind of themes all over the place. Because it's all about what planet he's going to. You know, what is the next planet? So, Alcinar 8, its theme is a bazaar. It's going to be like a bazaar type of theme for that planet. And that's kind of for like issue 1. And then issue 2 is he's going to go into like this shaman, Mormon type of religious planet. So, you know, this I gotta figure out an atmosphere environment for that, but that's for issue 2.
Oh, cool.
Nice,
and that's the trading card right there on the right hand side.
Right. Yeah, this is great. Is this you right here? Is this
the artwork on the left is mine? Yeah, that's like a inset panel. That was a splash page on page 3. Now the book is 48 pages, because like one thing that I notice in campaigns is that when they do their kind of shit, right, they bring a new product out. One of the hardest things in general is to get people that don't know who you are, or if they have, and you're bringing out a new product, what are you offering them? Because, you know, they're going to want, you know, a bang for their buck. So I was like, you know what, for the first issue, it's going to be 48 pages. The first story is 32. The bonus story is 8 pages. And then there's going to be some pinups and cool shit like in between to like really tie it all together.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so could you talk a little bit about their home planet and just maybe more on the creation side without giving away any of the story elements? Are you fully in charge of the art department, or is there like a back and forth? Or okay, cool.
I mean, so Brett, if he has an idea and he'll shoot me and be like, you should really do this, I'll fucking do it, like no problem. For the most part, it's really just me just designing everything, because you know I've been having this shit in my head for years. I've been, you know, my sketchbooks are filled. I just I'm just like killing it with, you know, certain things that I know I just can't bring it out quite yet. So I've been world building since fucking what, 7th grade, 5th grade, like.
Oh, that's the best.
But I'm redesigning everything.
Obviously, yeah. Like your set of skills are different now, so you'll see like old drawings like, oh, that sucks, or well, we can take this and do it properly. So
yeah. What's funny is somebody had an idea and they sent it over to me, somebody who's not a comic reader, and it was so weird, but I never seen this yet in the campaign. They said, what if you did a print or a cover where you have your first drawing where you don't change anything from that. You just like currently draw it to your skill set level today of what that character looks like then, your first draft character. And then you take your final draft character to what this character looks like now. And you have them like as if they're fighting each other, or, you know, kind of like a face off or something, you know, before and after type of print. And I was like, that's fucking genius, dude.
Yeah, that works.
Sort of, yeah, like the representation of the past and the present, battling it out.
Almost like an art time capsule thing.
Exactly. And I haven't seen something like that on crowdfunding campaigns, so I think I might try something that out for the second issue for that.
Because I saw that, but in a book on Jesus Christ, I'm blanking on the name now. Andy Smith.
Oh,
in his How to Draw like comics, like dynamic comics. He has a drawing of like First Man, but when he was a kid, like I designed this, like I was like 14 or whatever, and you can see like a 14-year-old Andy Smith skill, and then how he translated that into the future. But that's in a book, not a campaign. So,
oh yeah,
dude, yeah.
Like even drawing all this stuff and keeping consistent with it. My first book I ever self-published of my character was the the fucking glare is real here. Let me take it out.
Yeah.
The glare is strong with this one.
The glare, my eyes.
I mean, it's still glaring, but there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that art.
So you can see Sonderon, like how his eyebrows are like not as like exaggerated. His chin is very, you know, ordinary. Even
Smoother,
like the cheekbone. Yes, it's a smoother look. So that, I mean, like that's, you know, what he looked like then. And then you know, you see in that image right there, you know, it's got more of an edgier thing, but I really started fucking around with the exaggerations as time went on.
Yeah, but that's cool about, like, you see the evolution of the character, and the things like we develop a shorthand on characters as we like draw them over and over and over again. And then, like, for example, in animation, that's really hard to like not fall into that, because everybody has to draw the things the same. But I do appreciate that, because I see the things like basically the engineering in your hand, like what comes natural to you, and that's how drawings evolve. So
yeah,
really, and I love to see that process.
So this right here, like you can see how the eyebrows are like really stuck out, like the chin is like really, it's like pointy. I exaggerate like the loincloth. This actually right here is the statue that I'm currently making. I don't know if I have I don't know if I have it in time to go ahead and print it out for this campaign. I gotta do a little bit more research, but I got a guy sculpting it right now. I'm gonna 3D print it, see how it looks. And if it's reproductionable, then I'll be able to go ahead and have it for the next year.
Dude, that would be awesome, man. I hope that works out.
I'm like freaking out. I really want that to be a thing. I wanted it to be for the first issue, but I don't think I'm not gonna have time for it, sadly enough. So it's all right. I'm not, you know, worrying about it too much.
So is the book fully drawn? You guys are just going to print right after, or you still have to finish up some pages? Or?
So a good portion of the book is finished. When I launched in March, when I launched in March, I was ready to go. It was up there. It didn't fund, unfortunately. So the way I work is I try to get as much of my work done, you know, with my team. We're working off each other back to back to back. So we were getting a bunch of shit done before launch, and then during launch we were killing it, and then it failed, so we stopped. And then I was still working away, chiseling it, and I was like, you know what? No. So I told my team, hold off, work on your projects, get that shit done, and then when it funds again, when it funds for the next time I do it, then we'll hop hardcore onto it again. And we'll get it out there. So our workload, our work ethic isn't, you know, slow at all. We're pretty fast for what we're doing. It's just, it sucks, you know, when the book fails. You know, you gotta, like, you know, take 3 steps back, and you got to
Yeah,
reassess it.
you gotta regroup. Yeah, just.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to fail, but it's a risk. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, if you get up, then it's not really failure. You know what I mean? It's getting up,
Yeah.
getting back on the saddle.
Honestly, like, for anyone who's listening, if they're like, and they're wondering like when it would come out, the book is launching in October. If it funds, fingers crossed, everybody should have the book in their hand by February and March.
Oh, cool.
Like, I'm not a person where I don't like letting people wait for fucking months, dude. Like, on a campaign. I don't like that shit for myself when I have to wait. And so I don't like to do that for other people. So, yeah.
So are you just penciling and then you have an inker, or are you coloring as well? Or
I am penciling the first. So I did the pencils and inks for the backup story, had somebody else color that. Then I'm penciling for the first story. I don't have time to ink it, so I got a buddy of mine inking it, and then a different guy coloring this. We tried a Mobius color palette for the first time. It didn't work out. For apparently, a lot of people were they thought it was flats. They didn't kind of understood. They didn't get it. So I think that was another reason why people weren't backing it. So we're gonna recolor it differently.
Yeah, the thing with the Mobius coloring is that, dude, it has to do with the style Mobius drew it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It seems like it just works for certain things.
Yeah, for certain things, and it's just like taking all into account. Like, some styles don't take good to that kind of color because it looks like flats. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really hard.
So let me ask you this, buddy. I've just dropped the link in the chat for anybody would like to sign up.
Yeah, go check it out.
Could you tell us about your thoughts after graduating with Hubert School? What was it worth it for you? You think in the long run, is it worth it for anybody interested in going today? What do you think?
So, man, here's my brutally honest answer on that question. I'm 50-50 with it. If I didn't go to the school, I wouldn't have gotten to the artistically to this point in the way that I draw. Because of it. So there's that. And then, those were my, some of my best years of my life was being at that school, away from, being away from family on, being on, just in a whole new environment of something that I was, inspired and passionate growing up, being around, and just being, taking, all drugs under the sun, experimenting on different art, things. It was just, It was, the whole thing in itself was amazing, but in the educational part was a hit and miss for certain things. So there was classes where I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. It was, this place, it's a boot camp, it hammered you down. Now the other half of it where it also sucks, like I see sometimes where I'm like, was it worth it? Question mark, because COVID, my graduation year was the year that COVID hit. So none of us got jobs on the way out the door. We were kind of like, it was like, yeah, well, that happened. Let's try again kind of situation. And so we missed out on some big opportunities. Now I'm going to put blame on the, COVID because, that happened to everybody. And, but there was issues, when I came through the door. For example, when I was a first year student, there was some like housing dorm issues with the way that it was being run. And but I finished the year up. We were supposed to get Andy Kubert to teach second year. That was part of the course. I move up to second year. Andy Kubert moves to California. So we don't get Andy, right? So, but I was gonna have Lee Weeks teach in his replacement. Now, anyone who knows, Lee Weeks is also a fucking phenomenal artist.
Yeah.
Now, Lee Weeks had health problems at that time, so I barely got to have any time, being, taught narrative storytelling from him, amongst other different situations as well. Now, third year, you have Adam Kubert teaching you, for narrative storytelling. During my second year at the school to third year, it was being switched over to under new ownership. So Anthony Marquez, who used to be the editor of Dynamite Comics, became the new owner of the Kubert School, and there was massive issues with the overturning of the place. So obviously, Adam Kubert no longer was at the Kubert School, so we didn't get Adam to teach us.
Dude. Okay.
Yeah, dude. We were like, my year was taking blows after blows every fucking year, dude.
Shit. Sounds like it.
But Anthony Marquez, I'm not knocking him because when he came in, he started changing things fast. But our year, because my third year is the year that he took over, it's a slow burn. He just started. So obviously, you're not going to be on top of your game the first year for something like that. So a couple of years, a year or two after of him being, finally taking the reins on it, first year students are getting jobs. Lettering comics. He started implementing different programs and all this stuff. Where students in third years can get jobs, second years can work in different things. Like it was supposed to, that was supposed to be the Kubert School. You could possibly, if you were good enough, you were working. You could possibly get gigs on your first year as a student, and you work your way up to every single year. That's how it was back in the day. But when Joe Kubert passed away in 2012. Things just kind of started plateauing down. And from what I've heard from many accounts of other people that were in those years. So it seemed like it was a decline until Anthony picked it back up. And I hate saying that because I'm not knocking like the Kuberts or anything like that, but it's
a reality though. Yeah.
It's the reality of the situation. That's what happened. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
So and that's the thing. Like, I don't know, in this changing market, because I guess I got a different perspective because I don't live in the U.S. and coming from an animation background, like I'm not interested in working in the industry per se. You know what I mean? I want to put out books. Like I see more future in putting out books. So going to a place like the Kubert School, because dude, I went to Von Arts in Canada, and it was the same thing. It was a boot camp, 2 years of just like hammering down. Like, hey, this is how you animate. This is how you do CGI. This is how you do classical animation. And dude, I had like Brigitte Pollan from Disney, like she worked in Tarzan. I had Marcos Gonzalez, like dude, like huge like TV animator, like worked from Klasky Shupo to Spumco. Like he's been everywhere. I had all these teachers that just gave me like the nitty gritty grind of how to be an animator. But I didn't stay in North America to be an animator. I came back to Latin America, to a place with no industry. And what I had to do is grab what I had and create my opportunities myself.
Yeah.
To the point that I have a tool set that a lot of people don't have. Because Ginge has been working with me. Like I like pencil, ink, color. I do animated trailers. I edit. Like I have all the skill set, and it's going into the water, with basically jumping without a net. And I think right now this is the moment for people who get like, I don't know, formally trained or just like big enthusiasts to don't look for jobs, man. Do the stuff and put it out.
Yeah. It's just unspoken. It's an unspoken truth that these companies don't even give a fuck if you're applying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only when you're making your own shit. For example, it used to be back in the day where you did some narrative pages. You go up to an editor and they look at it. They give you feedback. Now they want to see you. They want to see if you can make a whole fucking comic book and make it like have it look professional from front cover to back cover.
Just think things have changed. Like the old systems, as great as they were, like they're gone. Like you're not gonna find that system anymore. No matter.
Like I had it's funny. You had, like you said, you had those people. Like I had Jan Dursema, Tom Mandrake, Fernando Ruiz, all those guys were teaching me and shit. Like everyone knows that Tom Mandrake, he co-created or created Black Mask. For Batman. This guy doesn't get enough credit because fucking Tom Mandrake, the way that how Martian Manhunter is as a character that people know and love, Tom Mandrake is responsible for that. Like him and John Ostrander. for the 90s run of Martian Manhunter and the Spectre. Jan Duursema worked on every Star Wars comics you could fucking possibly imagine back in, you know, the early 2000s and shit with Star Wars Legacy, creating Darth Krayt, Darth Talon, and, you know, Kate Skywalker.
Yeah.
She worked on the Star Wars prequels. Fernando Ruiz worked for Archie for 20 years before he left, and so these guys, like, they you know, they got the accolades, but you know, that's the stuff that they know. They're working in industry, and they know from the stuff that is before. It's changing so fast now that you know what they know is kind of changing. You know, like a little different now.
It's not like it's not fair to call it irrelevant, because it's not, because it's the basics. And the thing is, like, you know, when somebody who's trained, like, you see the pedigree and how he uses the camera, how he draws his poses. Like, dude, you can see the training. But from somebody who is empirical and learned out of YouTube. I'm not knocking people who learn from YouTube. YouTube is an awesome tool to learn. But you can see when somebody's taken to the motions of learning, like, okay, this guy has it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, we as evolving artists,
YouTube sucks. Like,
because there's no guidance. So people go, like, right into drawing musculature, and they don't know what muscles do. So they will draw a pose, and the muscles are doing things that they shouldn't be doing in that pose. And explaining that to them is really hard.
I mean, it's not just so much about that. It's I mean, YouTube is monetizes everything now.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
dude. All the animators are fucking leaving. Like, old YouTubers, like Smosh left. They're like, fuck this. They're doing their own Patreon. Meat Canyon left. He's got his own thing. Yeah. So, you know, people are trying to push. You got to, like, go to StreamYard, Discord. You know, they got to create that shit on Patreon. You know, it's fucking crazy. Like, because a lot of these things that keep coming out now just, you know, keep working against us. Like, one of the biggest things in comic books is politics. Like, if you're a conservative, say goodbye to your career, because you ain't getting in the mainstream if you're a conservative.
But I mean, like, do you really want to be in the mainstream? Like, even the page rates are not that good. It's like to be like, oh man, I want to go work for.
So, I would like to do some mainstream comics, you know, because you know, we all grew up where, like, I would love to do Conan or doing certain characters like Trekker or you know, like a Spidey book, you know, like any of those characters. It'd be great. Yeah, the pay rates are not there, but it'd be fucking awesome. You know, it'd be really fucking awesome to get a chance in my life, personally, for me, to go ahead and do that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm still making my own comic books and stuff. I'm still doing that. And I understand how the mainstream is. It's just, you know, sometimes you got to bite the bullet and do what you want to enjoy for some of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I have a more mercenary mentality, I guess. Because I don't care. Like, if there's like, you want to do Spider-Man? Like, how much you paying that? No, I don't want to do Spider-Man. Like, it holds no sway to me. But
I get it. I do understand.
I'm a mercenary, sir.
Yeah, Ichthus, he says, damn, you got top tier professors in your school.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it was founded by this guy called Liam Mishkin. And the thing's, like, animators, nobody knows animators. Dude, like, it's like 270 animators working on a film. Like,
what
are you gonna know who they are? What's that?
We had him on our show. George, we had him on our show. Scribner.
Oh yeah, George Scribner. No, but he's a Disney director. He started as an animator, but then he ended up directing. So directors are more known. But, like, the best animator in the world, Glenn Keane, like, not that many people know who he is. And
didn't Rob Schrab become an animator?
Yeah.
Because he's the guy who created Scud, and he left after making comic books, and he went into animation.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people who are in comics, they want to become animators. It's like, oh, it's really hard, and it is. But I went straight to animation. Yeah, I went straight to animation again. I didn't stop at comics. Like, dude, I dropped out of law school and went to animation school. which sounds weird now
I like
that
it.
I say it out loud. But
It's a great
but
origin
yeah,
story.
but yeah, like that's the thing. It's dude, like we have all the tools in our hands to do whatever we want. Just don't be afraid of working. Because there's something that animation taught me is that, dude, art is a lot of work. There's no time for glamour. Like, if you want to do like macaroni art and go to an art gallery and says like, yeah, this is a line on the canvas, it represents, you can do that, and you can help people launder money with that. That's totally respectable. But if you really want to get involved with art, get ready to work, man. Get ready to work.
People freak the fuck out with the banana being tuck taped to the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Freaked. Oh man.
Oh my god. No, but the thing is like that's just the monkeys. Like that's money laundering. That's because I mean down here in Latin America where I live, like it's a little bit more open how much they launder money with silly art. But with sculptures, like what's that? Like it's a huge bowl of brass. And in Spanish, it sounds more like poetic, but basically the piece of art is called half butt cheek. That's sold for, yeah, and it's just like an egg of brass. It's nothing remarkable. $500,000 in an auction for half a butt cheek. I'm like, yeah, dude.
You know what's crazy is that for like I'm launching this book for $5,300 right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
5,300 in the grand scheme of things is really not a lot. It really isn't, and it's crazy when you get like those guys, the sugar daddies of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was able to get like a couple of those guys, I'm fucking set.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's so sick. Because what happens is that they'll buy it, they're gonna fucking brag about it to their rich bastard friends.
Yeah.
Then their friends is gonna hop on like, oh, I'm gonna pick this up too. No, check this out. I got original artwork. Like,
but that's the thing. As an artist, you'll be forced to touch things. That's all I'm gonna say. To have that access, you'll be forced to touch stuff. So I don't know, man. My hands are clean. I'm poor, but my hands are clean.
I just noticed Ginge's display name. Are you promoting a new book? Yes, transsexuals and transvestites coming out next year.
Wow, that's Hey, we're over the hour now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. Okay, so that went by fast.
Yeah.
Dude, you've been an awesome guest, man. Yeah. This has been an awesome show. I really enjoyed it.
So let's see. How's everybody's sense of humor feeling right now? Because I've got something to share. It's just a funny video, and I suspect Pedro will not. He's already sort of. I'll just pass.
No, do it. Do it, please. Ruin my night.
All right. All right. Okay. So let me preface this. He's a comedian. I remember that guy, the Ice Cream Man song I played a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Is it John Hervey? Yeah, John Hervey. He's a comedian. This dude, Mark Ribouillet. You know him, Zach?
No, I probably know once I see him. Like the name just doesn't ring a bell.
This guy needs to be committed. That's what he needs.
Yes. Yeah. And this is a fair bit crazier than the one that I showed you last time, buddy. But what he does is he creates.
Why don't we show Gorilla riding a bike? That's easier, instantly funny.
It's not as much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun than what you were about to show. But go ahead.
So look, the thing of it is he comes up with this stuff on the spot and the beats on the spot, and it's all live streamed, and he just cuts the live streams up, and so I mean, I'll just say the name of the song is "Big Old Titties." We'll just get it out.
Yeah, big old bitties. Yeah.
Never mind the fact that he's in a robe.
Yeah.
The song's about big old titties. And I defy you to say that you will be bopping around the house. Sort of big old titties. Never mind
Go ahead and bust those out, bitch. Go ahead and bust the tits out now. Go ahead and bust the tits out, baby. Go ahead and bust the tits out, baby. Go ahead and bust the tits out, baby. Gotta bust those tits out, baby. Gotta go ahead and bust the tits out, baby. Gotta go ahead.
All right. What do you think?
So I've seen some of his videos. I just now I know exactly who he is. He's got some videos that I was like, oh, this is kind of catchy. Like I do like this, but then the other stuff I'm like, whatever. He sells those shows. He's a hit and miss with people. Like honestly, I wouldn't mind listening to him, but it's whatever.
Exactly.
It makes the teenager, the 15-year-old that never grew up within me.
Teenage me would love that shit.
Yeah.
Pedro, you have something to share, bud?
Yes. I give you the
A palate
glory
cleanser. Let's go
of
ahead.
gorilla and a bike. Just simple. Fuck this shit. Yeah, that's it. That's all you need. A gorilla riding a bike. He falls and he throws away as a human. See,
it obeys the Seinfeld rule, which is
What's that?
any situation is funnier when a monkey is added.
Exactly. You involve monkeys and everything's better. But this is like, dude, I was watching a video of a gorilla cage fight. Like the gorillas are like beating the shit out of each other in their habitat, and there's like cage fights. Like, oh no, the gorillas are fighting. And there's this Karen lady saying like, "Where's the zookeeper?" Like, what is the zookeeper going to do when gorillas are beating the shit out of each other? Like, is he gonna get in between the gorillas? Like, hey guys, stop! Like, he's gonna be
I seen that video. I was like, dude, fuck that.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
I'm not gonna kill myself.
I'm gonna let them solve whatever it is, whatever the problem is. They're gonna solve it among themselves. So
It's a hard situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just dropped the Indiegogo again in the chat. Yeah.
So you're right now on signups, right?
Yep. Pre-launch is definitely out right now.
All right, guys. So sign up for.
It launches October 1st.
Awesome. We'll be on the lookout, man. We'll be on the lookout.
Absolutely.
So keep us noticed on how you're going. Whatever we can do to help, we're here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zach, thank you for joining us, buddy. We're going to go ahead and end the show, obviously. We have all your links in the chat as well for your Twitter account, too. So for anybody looking to get in touch with you there, we'll go ahead and let you go. You can hang out or you can skedaddle.
Okay. I got to do a couple things once I get off this. Yeah, she was looking at her and I was like, okay. Okay, thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
awesome, dude. It was our pleasure. Peace.
All right.
Yeah, it was
a
good
show,
show,
buddy.
Dude. Yeah. The hour went out smoothly. I was surprised. Like, wow, that's an hour.
Looks like the vote's in. I knew.
See what I mean? See what I mean? Dude, gorilla on a bike.
Yeah.
I can see that over and over again.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Okay, great. All right. So let me see who we have next week here.
That's it.
We scooch. We have Raiden Radio. He goes by another name. I believe he does a noir style.
Norlam. I think it was one of his books, and yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we're looking forward to that. We want to thank everybody. Ichthus, great show tonight, guys.
Thank you, so.
What else do we have here? J-Bot, thanks for coming by, buddy. I love this dude's style. I've probably said it enough to annoy him now at this point.
J-Bot. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of fun.
Doing some
Channel
awesome
Hog.
work. J-Bot is doing some awesome work for WAIFUS and KAIJUS.
There it is. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Dr. Mask, old dirty fatty. I hope you get a bath here soon, buddy. Maybe an exercise bike. But, have a great day, everybody. Great evening. We will catch y'all next week.
See ya.